Welcome back and a very happy new year to the students of class 7 and welcome everyone to our social science e-learning class. And students, today in this class we are going to discuss the another subunit from your history book. It is the fishing in troubled waters, Masulipatanam. Okay, so open your book, page number 85 and follow. That in previous classes I have discussed with you about the port town Surat. Okay, that was a very important port at the time in the medieval period and in the mainly in the 15th and 16th century India. Now we will going to discuss another port, that is Masulipatanam. And this Masulipatanam, the word is came from a word mean Machilipattanam. Machilipattanam means, Machili means fish, you know, and Pattanam town. So fisher folk town. So fish folk town or Masulipatanam from Masulipatanam. Okay. So what was the story of this port? How did this port evolved at the time? And it was became the one of the most important port at the time of Vijayanagar Empire and the surrounding areas in the South India. So in the 17th century, it was situated beside the river Krishna, and both Dutch and English East India companies, they first established their factories in that port. And what happened actually at the time, this fort was the main fort to control all the trading activities in the Bay of Bengal region, and it was easy to move towards Southeast Asia from this port. According to William Methold, English chronicler, he wrote in 1620s that it was an important port of Golconda state. You know that Bijapur, Golconda, Berar, Ahmednagar and Bidar, these are the 5 states in the South India. So these states actually controlled all the trade and commercial activities. So politics of the Deccan surrounding these 5 states for a long period. So Golconda is a major state at the time, and the Masulipatanam was the most important port of Golconda state in 1620s. And this small town, at first it was a small town, but due to the navigability and also it was situated in a major portion near Indian Ocean and in Bay of Bengal. So the population was started increasing because different people, they came here and started living there for business purposes. And previously it was a fisher folk town, so those fishermen colonies also present there, and these are very much ill built, means haphazardly they built their households here and there, no planning was there like the modern cities, and it was worse situated. So but due to the natural harbor is a place where the ships can anchor their ships in the time of storms. Okay, so this is the position of Masulipatanam. So they have indented coastlines. Okay, so what is the benefits of indented coastlines? That when some ship, they can port their ships in this indented portion. So what happened because of this? If any storm they arise in the ocean or sea, then the storms could not affect these regions. Okay, so the storms just passes through the harbor, natural harbor, and ships become safe. So in this, that's why lot of traders, they anchor their ships and they started living in the Masulipatanam. Okay, and merchants, they started hanging around the port. Okay, now merchants, they hanging around the port, and it was an important center when in long distance water trade, they also port their ships in Masulipatanam for few days, take some food and their other logistics and necessary things, and again they started their journey. So this is an important harbor and port in the Bay of Bengal at the time. So the Kuli Qutub Shah, at the time the Qutub Shahi dynasty ruled in Golconda. It's a Shia Muslim Sultanate, and the Kuli Qutub Shah, the rulers, they also imposed royal monopolies on the sale of textiles, spices and other items to prevent the intrude of Europeans. Means at the time, lot of Europeans, you have already read, the Dutch and English East India Company, they already established their factories, so they came very often and they purchased all the important commodities from these ports like textiles, spices. Okay. So to prevent their intervention in their personal trade, to save the Indian traders from the competition with the European traders, they imposed duties on these products. So very intense competition was there among various trading groups. Why they imposed such duties on foreign companies on those particular commodities? To prevent the invasion of the Europeans. Okay. And there are different parties and business groups who compete with each other at that time in Masulipatanam, such as the Golconda nobles, the rich people. Noble means the rich people who living in the Golconda, the rich people of Golconda, the royal persons also, as well as the Persian merchants came from Persia. Telugu Komati Chettis. Telugu Komati Chettis is another trading community, and they very much powerful in trade and commercial activity at the time, as well as the European East Indian companies. Various East Indian companies including Dutch, Portuguese and British, they very often came there to purchase all these commodities, and trade and commercial activity was very much flourished in these ports. So these four different groups, they made the city populous and prosperous. So because of the arrival of different traders and merchants, this city started populous. Okay, city became very much populous. Population was increased. And in Mughal era, when Mir Jumala, very important, Mir Jumala, this is the Masulipatanam. Mir Jumala is the governor of Masulipatanam, governor of Golconda. He was also personally a businessman. So what happened? He began play off the Dutch and the English against each other. In the Mughal period, when Mir Jumla became the governor of Masulipatanam, okay, it is Masulipatanam, he started playing with English and Dutch East India Company to prevent the Indian traders and the Indian commodities. Okay. And in 1686 to 1687, when Aurangzeb completely annexed the Golconda state, then what happened? The European companies, they were not able to enter inside the Masulipatanam. Then they started searching an alternative. So finally, the British East India Company, they adopted a new policy, and as per their policy, a port should have connections with the hinterland should be made. A port, they search a port which should have connections with the hinterland. So then the new centers should combine political, administrative and commercial roles. So they also searching for some places. Those places would be very much important for administrative, political and commercial rules. Okay. So in this way they're searching new alternatives, and finally in late 17th century the company traders, East India Company traders, moved to Bombay instead of Surat, and they also established a new port in Madras. Okay, Port St. George at Madras, established in Tamil Nadu, and all the trading activities of Masulipatanam switched towards Madras, which was today known as Chennai, an important metropolitan city of modern India, and also an important port. Okay, so Masulipatanam in this way lost both its merchants and prosperity and declined in 18th century, and slowly Masulipatanam declined in 18th century, and today it is just a small town in Andhra Pradesh. So in the similar way another port was there, that is Hooghly. Hooghly is situated in the deep inside the estuary of river Bhagirathi, or it also called Hooghly. So but due to some political reasons, when other parties also started try to capturing this port was actually established by the Portuguese, but when British came and other Dutch, the Danish and the French East India Company, they also intrude in the region. So the British East India Company, they started searching a new port, and they established Calcutta in this. It is also near the estuary of river Hooghly or Bhagirathi, and they also shifted all their trading activities to Calcutta, okay, in 1697. So in this way we can see that three important ports of India in medieval period substituted by three different ports established by the British East India Company. Hooghly replaced by Kolkata or Calcutta at the time, Masulipatanam replaced by Madras, today's Chennai, and Surat replaced by Bombay, today's Mumbai. Okay, and these three are the very important metropolitan cities today, and with more than 1 crore of population. Okay, students, so these are the significance of these cities and how did these three cities established. You can learn, okay, you have learned from today's class. So next class we are going to discuss the last subunit of this chapter. So thank you for watching. See you in the next class.